Well, hello, boys and girls. We're back for another of those exciting things you like to come over here and watch on your TV every night with the most exciting, wild, and woolly David Wohl. But we're not introducing him yet because I just got to tell you, man.
Mike,
Yeah,
start
up.
over.
I know what I'm
No, we're
doing.
going to start over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I knew what I was doing. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing over there. You should be ashamed of yourself. Man, does your wife know what you're doing? Oh, you don't have a wife. That explains it. Well, I'm feeling a little crazy tonight, Jeffrey. You know why?
Well, you're not drunk, so
I'm not drunk. It could be why, but no, it's because I'm crazy. I got the love.
And I want the same thing I love.
We are crazy about comics.
Comic book geek. I never set limits on what man can achieve, so they call me a comic book geek. I love and beauty and what philosophers say, but I'm a comic book geek. Don't call me a loser, 'cause I'm a comic book geek. 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 I wanna live in a world of adventure. I wanna have the seas of immortality. I want to move across the limits of imagine past the limits. Believe that we can be beyond the limits of human. That's why they call me a geek. Oh, well, a comic book geek. I love a comic book geek. Well, I'm a comic book geek. Well, I'm a comic book geek. Geek, 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 geek. Well, I'm a comic book geek.
Okay, are we back?
Yeah, you're back.
Make sure
We're back.
We're back. Welcome
back.
back.
Hey, we are back in your face, up in your grill, with none other than the wild and woolly David Wohl.
Hey.
Quite possibly the greatest guest we've ever had on the show. Let's see if we can keep him.
Really?
Maybe, I think so, yeah. I mean, when it comes to you've created some masterpieces. Witchblade?
Witchblade, Darkness, Aphrodite 9.
Ooh, she had the nicest ass in comics. You remember that cover,
Yeah,
David?
Dave Finch did a really good job with her.
That ass was juicy.
How long have you been in comics? Is what I was going to start out with.
Almost 25 years. Because I started as a high school intern when I was like 17 years old. I was a senior in high school, and instead of taking classes at my school, they let you do other things. They called it the ICY project, the intercollegiate year. And at that point, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. So they gave me like 3 choices, and one of them was Marvel, because there's some kind of legal experience you could get there. So I started there as an intern.
And the time was...
What year? 1985.
It was hot.
It's a shooter?
It was during Secret Wars.
The legendary bullpen.
Yeah, Jim Shooter was the boss, and it was so cool. I mean, see, I wasn't even really a big comic fan at that point. I had read just a few. Like, my dad bought me some when I was sick, and then my friend Mark, when I was in high school, showed me like all these cool X-Men and Fantastic Four. Was that Mark Silvestri?
My
friend Mark was a friend from high school. Oh, who was doing the X-Men? Yeah. It was like Paul Smith and John Romita Jr. were the ones that he was showing to me. And then by the time I started there, it was John Romita Jr. and John Byrne doing Fantastic Four. And it was just so cool. I was like in the bullpen, and like Chris Claremont would come by and look at his mail, and Walt Simonson was there doing Thor, and it was just a great time to get started. And then I just kept jumping from person to person, and it seemed like such a fun job, And then I was like, law school, who cares about that? I could, make Xeroxes for a living. And then I started working on Marvel Universe with Mark Grunwald, who was editor.
That's the handbook, you mean?
Yeah, the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. Mm-hmm. And I went from knowing nothing about comics to like everything, because our job was like to find action shots. So we'd have to just sit in this room where they had all these like rolls of old comics, like just rolled up in these black and white like tubes. And he just went through them finding like action shots. Back then, like, you know, it wasn't computers or anything yet. So like they take like the black and white comic film and shoot it and turn it into this like roll of, looked like a poster rolled up. Oh, wow. And every page was like in there in black and white. And then when they wanted to reshoot the comic, they would shoot those pages. And they also had film of the colored version. So we would find Mark was obsessed with cause and effect in the same panel. Always show cause and effect. If someone was firing a fireball out of their hand, let's see it hit somebody. And he'd get all pissed off when artists weren't good at cause and effect.
That's a good, I mean, it's a good edit. I mean, do you still use, because you edit now, do you still kind of
You know,
take
there's a lot of things that I
with you?
took from Mark Grunewald. Actually, I say them to my son sometimes. Like, there's weird things that he used to say, like, bagels can't be choozles. And, like, I'll just say it. And, you know, like, no one gets it. Everyone looks at me funny, but I'll just say them. And he has, like, the 3 rules of comedy, which is something that's funnier to you than it is to someone else is funny.
Like our show.
The second rule is if you say something, if you do something one time, it's not funny. Do it 50 times, it's funny.
Oh.
And the third rule is comedy, like rules, always comes in 3s. And
that's
those are
great.
3 rules
That's
of comedy.
great stuff.
Those are good
I
words
still
live
adhere to
by.
that.
Yeah.
And I guess
George is writing them down. He likes those rules. What is it? I don't have my
write
glasses.
bigger, will you?
It's a break, guys.
Oh,
Break.
Time for a break?
Oh, okay.
I thought he was writing the rules of comedy down.
We'll be right back.
Jeffrey's Comics is located at 15900 Crenshaw in Gardena, directly across from El Camino College. We have over 1,000 graphic novels. We have over 500 new comic titles. Our video section contains over 500 rare nostalgic DVDs, classic entertainment for all ages. This is our kids' comic section. We have a large toy selection. This is our statue section. Our older comics are all great investments. We have comic books as cheap as 4 for $1, going up over thousands of dollars. At Jeffrey's, the magic never stops. We live comics, we love comics, we are comics.
That's why they call me a geek. Oh, well, a comic book geek.
Welcome back, everybody. And we're talking to Dave Wohl, and he's talking about the character he created, Witchblade.
I was a co-creator of it. Basically, the first, at that point, like when I came to Top Cow in like 1993, we were a very small company, and Mark, I would always go to his house, and we would just kind of bat around ideas and stuff. And we decided we wanted a comic with a female lead. And people had always told us that you couldn't do that, no one would be into it, they don't sell, you know. At that point, we really wanted to get something that would break through in Hollywood, too. So a guy named Brian Haberlin, who was our colorist at that point, and also he kind of created a whole coloring method that we use at Top Cow, that they still use today. And Brian and I basically just sat on the Santa Monica Pier and tried to come up with an idea. And we both liked the whole idea of the eternal champion, like Elric, you know, this old Michael Moorcock books. And I was really, also in Elric, he had like the sword, Stormbringer, that was this like demon in the shape of a sword that would like suck souls out of people, and it was really evil.
Don't say sucking sword around Captain Greedy too much. Get too excited.
Okay, I'll try to keep that to a minimum. So it just kind of came out of that. We were just sitting around batting ideas around. NYPD Blue, like I was really into that show, and I liked the whole idea of trying my hand at a police drama. So we thought, oh, it'd be cool to have a female detective, and the Witchblade is like this entity on its own, you know. It like has its own agenda, and it may or may not go along with what Sarah wants. Sarah Pazzini is the character. So basically we started there, and then with Mark Silvestri's help, we just started molding it. And then Michael Turner came into it and started to create the look of it. And then we just got rolling. And then Christina Z was my co-writer, who was someone who, I actually met her on AOL, like in a chat room.
I bet you did. She's pretty hot, dude.
Yeah, she's cute.
Well, you're married, so.
Yeah, well, I wasn't married then. That
Oh.
was, that was a long
pretty
time
hot.
ago. And I was already kind of working on Witchblade. I think when we first started hanging out, I was probably writing the first issue. And I started like showing my stuff to her just to get her opinion on it. And then she really pushed me to write better. I think up until that point, I think a lot of times writers in general, you know, you just kind of throw it down, and if the editorial hand isn't strong, you know, you just get away with mediocre stuff. And since I was the editor-in-chief, no one was really editing my stuff at that point. You know, I was just kind of writing it and getting it out there. So, but once she was pushing me in a direction, I felt like my writing was getting much better. And it almost seemed like it was a waste that she was only editing me. So we ended up co-writing it. I would write all the captions.
Had she had previous comic experience?
I don't think she had comic experience. She had writing experience. She wrote for like Herb magazine, did reviews and stuff. She just had a really stylish way of writing that I thought was cool and different. And then, so we had another book, Ripclaw, that we were working on at the same time. So it was sort of like I took the lead on Witchblade and she edited me, and then she took the lead on Ripclaw and I edited her. And then eventually she took over Witchblade altogether. Cool. But the first story arc of Witchblade was still to this day is like my favorite thing that I ever
For a break, guys.
Oh, shit. You know,
I was going to do that, you know. You got to give me a second. But, okay, we'll be right back.
What makes a man? Is it the woman in his arms? Just 'cause she has big titties? Or is it the way he bites every day? No, it's probably the titties. Now you're a male. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh. Now you're a my.
Welcome back, everybody. And we're talking to Dave Wohl, and he's talking about the character he created, Witchblade, and now they made a TV series out of that.
Yes.
Now, since you're the creator, and Michael Turner's the co-creator?
Yeah, we had 4 creators: Mark Silvestri, Brian Haberlin, Mike Turner, and
for every show you should get some money.
Yeah, they had like some kind of producer fee that we all split. I think Mark was an executive producer. Oh, and then Brad Foxhoven, who was our president at that point, and myself were both like regular producers. And Mike Turner, they gave him, he was like a creative consultant.
Nice.
So do you get paid for every episode of the animation too?
No.
Why
I'm
not?
not getting anything for that.
Why? You created the Witchblade.
Yeah, well, we all ended up making a deal with Top Cow to kind of relinquish ourselves from making the money. It was when they weren't doing too well financially, I kind of made that deal with them because I felt like I had already made enough money like while I was there. Of course, that was like.
Now they're doing a live action.
If this was today, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
No,
they're doing a movie,
in
right?
retrospect.
A live action movie.
Yeah, supposedly there's one in the works. Yeah.
Cool.
So, but you don't get anything now
No.
because you gave it up. Darn.
Hopefully, I'll get tickets to the premiere or something.
When you started out, you worked with Michael Turner, who's become a legendary artist and just a human
Yeah,
being.
I actually found him at a convention.
Was this his first work?
Witchblade. Well, we it was I think it's 1994, the year after I started at Top Cow. He showed us stuff at a convention, and the way he drew faces and bodies wasn't so good, but he drew like amazing trees and cars and buildings. And Mark was looking for a background guy at that time to work on Cyberforce, which was the book that Mark Silvestri was drawing. And I showed the samples to Mark, and Mark was like, "What? I'm not gonna bring this guy up here. He sucks." And then he mailed me samples like a month later, and he'd improved. And I showed them to Mark again, and Mark was still like a little apprehensive about it. Like he'll say the same story if he was around. Mm-hmm. And but then he brought him up anyway. And then he came into the studio, and this is Mark's quote, but he says how the guy was like a sponge. Mike had like a photographic memory, and is really competitive. Was really competitive, but didn't show it. Like he had this kind of laid-back demeanor, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. But in reality, he wanted to be the best at everything. You know, whether it was a video game or penciling or barefoot water skiing or whatever he was doing, he wanted to be the best. And he quickly became a phenomenal penciler in the studio, like starting out doing backgrounds for Mark, and then he went on to do his own books. And then he was doing this book called Ballistic, and then we had Witchblade coming out, and I asked if Mike could be the penciler because I thought he'd look good. And then he came on to Witchblade, and then that's kind of what helped his career to skyrocket. Was he became really popular in that book, and that was probably, not that I'm that popular, but whatever popularity I had was with his help on Witchblade that like allowed me, you know, to get known too. It was really cool. I mean, at the beginning, I was all pissed off at him. I'd hate because I'd write this big intricate plots, and then he would kind of change them the way he wanted to, and I'd bitch about it, you know, to whoever, and I'd be like, why is he doing that? You know, who is this guy? And then I always realized that what he came up with was better. It was always more cinematic. It looked good. So I learned to realize that the collaboration actually made the book as good as it can be.
And you know, before he passed away at a very young age from cancer, but during that short time, he became probably the most popular artist in comics. A comic book would sell like 20–25% more.
If he did the cover, you mean?
Just with his covers, yeah. And
even for Marvel and DC?
If he did the interiors, yeah. What was it he did?
Superman, Batman?
Yeah, Superman, Batman was phenomenal sales.
Yeah, I mean, DC had him like designing toys and, you know, designing like doing trading cards and stuff.
Oh, getting shut down?
We want to take a little short break now. Excuse us. Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Are we back?
Jeffries Comics is located at 15900 Crenshaw in Gardena, directly across from El Camino College. We have over 1,000 graphic novels. We have over 500 new comic titles. Our video section contains over 500 rare nostalgic DVDs, classic entertainment for all ages. This is our kids' comic section. We have a large toy selection. This is our statue section. Our older comics are all great investments. We have comic books as cheap as 4 for $1, going up over thousands of dollars. At Jeffries, the magic never stops. We live comics, we love comics, we are comics.
That's why they call me a geek. Oh, well, a comic book geek.
I hope you guys aren't getting too annoyed at those breaks out there. That's what's been keeping us on the air here for 10 years while all other public access shows shut down.
The sponsors?
Yeah, the sponsors, the ratings.
Jeffries Comics.
Jeffries Comics.
Jeffries Comics sponsors this show?
Yeah, who would have thought, you know?
You could get someone like Jeffries Comics to the show?
Yes, and
wow.
Yeah.
They won't let.
We love
them
Jeffries
on.
Comics.
Don't you have a Super
Probably
Bowl
the
ad this year?
best comic store in
Super
South
Bowl
Bay.
ad, right?
Super Bowl ad, yes.
Yeah, Super Bowl ad, yeah.
Okay, I got 1 second. Somebody took 1 second on
Yeah,
Super
I know.
Bowl ad. That's
all
cool.
good. So back to David now. Next, I mean, you've got some other stuff coming down the pike, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Some new projects.
Speaking of Mike Turner, basically, when he stopped doing Witchblade, he went on to do Fathom, which I helped to. I mean, I don't call myself a co-creator, but I was sort of the editor of it, so I like helped push it along. And then ultimately, Mike started his own company called Aspen and left Top Cow. And eventually, I too left Top Cow to pursue a creative career in other places. I kind of got sick of doing administrative stuff, so I wanted to become just a writer. And then I wanted to see what else is out there. And all along, I was hoping to be able to collaborate with Mike again. And finally, last year, we pitched to him this idea called Executive Assistant.
So I remember like when that was the story was announced on Newsarama, and like one of the replies like, "This is the dumbest idea ever." And then I think you came in and said it was based on a true story.
Yeah, it was actually this guy said that's, you know, why don't you do some research? Nothing like that would ever really happen. And then I had to answer him that it's based in truth, which is in the 80s in China, business dealings were so hostile that people had to bring bodyguards. But it was impolite to have a bodyguard at your business meeting. So they would bring an executive assistant, which is a woman who is trained to be your personal assistant, but also is a bodyguard and a killer.
He knows karate.
Yeah, knows karate, is good with weapons.
Oh, wow.
And can be sexy.
What's it called again?
Executive Assistant Iris.
So it used to just be. Well, I have a question.
Oh, it's just called Executive Assistant.
Right.
But
who added
for
Iris?
some reason, people were thinking that name wasn't strong enough.
I like that with Iris.
We like the idea that if people like it, we have a whole bunch. Basically, I didn't even say this. I guess I should. That and this is part of the true story too. That basically they take orphan girls and train them to become these executive assistants, and they take them at a really early age, like 6 years old, and they basically teach them how to fight. They teach them etiquette. They beat them if they make mistakes. You know, because the best ones who come out of it could make the most money for these schools.
Are they going to do flashbacks and kind of show that too?
Yeah,
Oh, that's neat.
we'll
I
show
like that.
how she was created. And basically they lose their identity once they get there, so they're just named after flowers. So
Oh,
she's
they're all named
Iris,
after
you know,
flowers.
there's like a lily and a orchid and
Petunia.
whoever.
Is that your
There's-
idea, or is that
there's-
really
there's
the
no
way it's
petunias.
done?
As a matter of fact, no, I think that was our embellishment. I think Peter
like that.
Steigerwald, who is a designer colorist at Aspen, who I've worked with, he used to be at Top Cow, one of our first guys we hired. I think that was his idea. But yeah, so if the book is successful and does well, then we could have executive assistant Petunia, or whatever it may be.
Cool, man. You ever get your wife to dress up in a Witchblade outfit?
No, no. You know, as a matter of fact, I don't think she even knows that I worked on Witchblade. Actually, no, she did, because I used to make her watch the TV show when it was on.
Ouch.
And she did do that, but she won't read any of your stuff.
Also, this guy,
Did she ever read a Witchblade comic?
no.
God, anybody could read a
Actually,
comic book.
my dad did.
And the art was very
Let's
pretty.
strike a deal right now. Strike a deal. You guys ready? Put Jeffrey Patterson in executive assistant, a character named Jeffrey Patterson, and he
then kill him?
guarantees to order 200
Kill-
copies.
oh, God, I love to
No,
die
no,
in
well,
a
I killed him
comic.
in my book. But will you order 200 copies every month if they put a character named Jeffrey Patterson in the book?
I do something.
I would
extravagant.
not-
I'd be really excited.
I would call him Jeffrey Pat. I have a character in mind, actually. It's
Oh,
a guy
that
right
is-
now that I called Rucker, and I could change his name to Jeffrey Patterson.
that would be so
He's the
cool.
love interest for the story,
I like
Wow.
that too.
who I'm
Does he
still
have a small
debating.
penis?
Oh my
Then
God!
that would just bring it all the way home.
I'm still debating whether or not to kill him
excited.
at the end.
So
That
would
makes
you
me so
order
happy.
200
I'm not even mad about that small
200
penis.
copies. 200
I
copies
if
every
that's what I should do,
I think that's what
don't
you
know.
should
I'd just
do.
be so happy. I just love to see my name everywhere. You know, I have it on my car, and
That would be Geoffrey Patterson.
I have it
With
here.
a G,
and-
yeah. Just like Jeffrey's comics.
All right.
And Mike used me, and
Deal.
I was Officer
Do
Jeffrey
you hear that,
Patterson.
dude?
I'm ver-
Shake on it. All right, look at that. That's how we make magic happen. Those numbers are up, baby. 200 copies, right? At Jeffrey's Comics in Gardena.
If I could slip him into the zero, which I
Definitely.
would, but it's already finished.
Hey, we're getting notes here, and it's about time to end this.
Are we getting too emotional?
Emo.
Does emo mean?
And no.
Does emo mean something? In,
Oh, I think
in
it's
Bul-
EVV.
Well, he's from Bulgaria, so
Yeah.
things mean different things.
Here he goes. This is
He's
gonna
gonna
be
try it.
This is gonna be fun.
Let's see if we can spell end.
Oh, and.
End. Okay. All right. All right.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So it's over.
It's
you.
a pleasure. We're really good interview.
So there you have it, kids. Hope you watched it, because you might have learned something if you weren't careful.
And you watch it tomorrow.
Again.
If you missed it, or if you just really loved it.
And I know
Set
my
your
wife
TiVo.
won't watch it.
That's you. Any
watch
disparaging
it on
things you want to
TV.
say about your wife since she's not watching?
No, I love her.
You folks at home, you're really missing the show. Our camera people work so hard. Liz over
They
here.
doing sign language.
Now, can I say hello to my kids?
Yeah, you can say hello. Yeah, say
Do a
hi to your
little
kids.
shout out.
Jonathan and Benjamin. Oh,
I thought
hi,
those were like
Jonathan and Benjamin.
So why don't you thank everybody?
I was
started.
thinking
You started.
Liz and Caesar, George. Let's not
My
forget
boy
George.
Georgie.
Boy, George, is this your first time working on American Hollywood production? It is?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
And
Come
we're
up
only
here for a
about-
second,
He
George.
likes first
We're
experience.
only about 20 miles from Hollywood.
Keep rolling. I want to talk about George for a minute. I know
I know what you're
I
gonna
know
say.
people don't
I
want.
know
No,
what you're
people,
gonna say.
no, people don't want to ask about George, but I think we want to know about George. George, you from where now?
Hi, guys. I'm from Bulgaria. I came here to follow my biggest dream in life, and that is to become a filmmaker.
And look at you, dude. You're
Yeah.
the first time right behind the camera. How's it feel?
It
Dream-
feels just like I've imagined it.
Really, like good?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can go home, right?
Well,
I'm just
after we
kidding.
get finished,
And we don't want you to go home. You're going to be with us for a while, hopefully. George is our new producer.
Oh, this is the first show right here today?
His first episode,
You
dude.
did a good job.
You did a very good job, yes.
It's been 30 seconds, and you haven't mentioned the fact that he's a virgin. Were you?
Oh,
were
I
defi-
wasn't even going to talk about
Really?
that yet.
I was looking at my clock. I said, "Wow, it's taking 30
No,
seconds."
well, we were talking about masturbation and stuff. Do you masturbate often, or?
every once in a while.
It's good to keep the
It's a
boys
man
floating,
thing,
you know?
yeah.
Yes, and you've not had the sex yet.
He works at Jeffrey's Comics, and he's there Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And
Can I ask how much you get paid? Because I think that is a valid question.
No, no,
Oh,
no, no.
well,
no,
I
no, no.
get
Gets
Oh,
paid.
come
paid
on,
in
let's
comic
ask-
books. No,
well,
no.
I'm still working at the
'Cause I
same
don't- I
comic
don't-
book
Why can you
store.
ask everybody else?
Because
but I
he
can't-
makes more money than some of the people. He makes
Nobody's
less than
gonna
other
see
people.
it.
No, Jeff,
I-
that's
He's probably
okay.
worth it.
I'm still working at the same place. I don't have to open my comic book store.
Which one? Oh, that was a dig at me. I get it. Yes, that's right. He's happy making $6 an hour. He didn't have to go open his own comic store.
It's 3 1/4 actually.
Oh, nice. And store credit. Now you don't read comics, do you?
Actually, we didn't get that many comics in Bulgaria.
And when you did get them, you had to use
stuff.
them as toilet paper because there's even less toilet paper than there is comics, right?
I guess so, yeah.
No,
That's the way you do it.
I make a joke. No, but so you weren't a big comic book fan.
I wasn't a bit, but when I read The Watchmen and everything.
Did you read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Cool. What'd you think?
The Dr. Manhattan.
He's ruined it.
Away, people. We got big. Don't tell big plot things.
Okay.
Because they got the movie coming out and everything.
But as far as I know, it was magnificent. No, I am.
Oh, it was what?
It was magnificent.
Yes, it was magnificent. Yeah. George, magnificent. Yes.
Thanks.
And he's got dreams coming true happening here. Like,
He's a hard worker. He rides his bike every day to work. You know, he's.
good thing.
It's not an easy life for him. You know, they charge him at El Camino like we're a regular tourist resident might pay a couple hundred. He pays like $3,000 a quarter.
$20 per unit, and I pay $200 per unit.
Wow.
Because they have to work harder to teach you.
Really? At all?
I make a joke.
Is it like that at all the colleges? Like Santa Monica
I think
College,
so. Yeah, it's a policy for the international students.
Oh wow.
No, it's okay. It's for a guy like me that makes a lot of money at Jeffrey's Comics. It's okay.
Awesome.
I'm sure this pays a lot too, right?
Oh.
This gig.
You
right
mean
down
tonight?
here?
I think tonight.
Okay, we
no,
haven't talked to you
it pays in
about
dreams.
your
Yes.
salary for tonight. Yeah.
I mean, dreams come out. That's priceless when your dream comes true.
I mean, I get an appearance fee, right?
I think people could get to know you.
We'll be right back after this break.
There we go.
Wow. Nice.
That was good, George. High five. That was good.
Nice job, George.
I hate this fucking place, and I don't
guess
hate
he
it
is.
quite as much today as I did yesterday. I just got sick of the crowds, and I guess I was sick to my stomach too. My leg hurt.
Spider Woman's got junk in the
I had
trunk.
rectal itch.
Look at Spider Woman.
Wow! Look at those. Look at the girl. Mike, where do you go? She looks better than the comic book.
You want to talk to her? Yeah, you do this one. It'll get you some
Can we
practice.
interview you for our TV show, Comic Book Geeks?
Yeah.
What was your name?
Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman, and I'm Captain Greedy,
Nice
and
to
this is my henchman.
Wonder Boy.
And we've got a cable
Okay.
TV show in Torrance,
Okay.
Comic Book Geeks.
Are you a comic book collector?
What kind of books you like?
I'm a Marvel girl. I don't really do DC, and I love anything written by Warren Ellis. I just adore.
So where are you from?
I'm from New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Fly out or do you swing down?
It's a great costume.
Thank
It's
you
really
very
good.
much.
So you're Spider Woman. Does that mean you are a swinger?
Nice.
Oh, that was good. Let me let
You like that?
move in.
I can't do too many interviews like this. I would get in trouble. But it's been a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you.
See you around.
Love you. All right, let's go.
Good. I still got Guy carrying my stuff. She was stacked, boy.
Stacked.
That's like my wife. I like that.
Stacked like the Twin Towers. She's stacked like your wife. You like that.
Yeah.
We're back.
We are back. We are black. No, we're back. So, ladies, gentlemen, Jeffrey, David, George, anything you want to say to people before we go home for tonight?
I just want to wish them all the best. Read comics. Comic book are the best.
And what store should they read them at?
Jeffrey's Comics.
What do you think about the
I'd
comic
love to
book?
promote my store.
We have a title about that. Jeffrey's Comics. We're the best, and we smash bugs.
There we go. I love it. It's good. It's good. Keep them over there working hard.
Anyway, thank you very much. And Georgie, thank you for being a surprise guest.
Thank you.
Punch it, George. Oh wait, no, we do like this. There we go. That's not your masturbating hand, is it?
No, I like it.
Oh, it was. Bye, kids. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next
The
month.
end. Well, hello, boys and girls. We're back for another of those exciting things you like to come over here and watch on your TV every night with the most exciting, wild, and woolly David Wohl. But we're not introducing him yet because I just got to tell you, man.
Mike,
Yeah,
start
shut
over.
up. I know what I'm
Now we're
doing.
going to start over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I knew what I was doing. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing over there. You should be ashamed of yourself. Man, does your wife know what you're doing? Oh, you don't have a wife. That explains it. Well, I'm feeling a little crazy tonight, Jeffrey. You know why?
Well, you're not drunk.
School, and instead of taking classes at my school, they let you do other things. They called it the ICY project, the intercollegiate year. And at that point, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. So they gave me like 3 choices, and one of them was Marvel, because there's some kind of legal experience you could get there. So I started there as an intern.
And the time was...
What year? 1985.
It's a shooter?
It was during Secret Wars.
The bullpen, the legendary bullpen.
Yeah, Jim Shooter was the boss, and like it was so cool. I mean, see, I wasn't even really a big comic fan at that point. I had read just a few. Like my dad bought me some when I was sick, and then my friend Mark, when I was in high school, showed me like all these cool X-Men and
Was that Mark
Fantastic Four.
Silvestri?
My friend Mark was a friend from high school. Oh, who's doing the X-Men? Yeah. It was like Paul Smith and John Romita Jr. were the ones that he was showing to me. And then by the time I started there, it was John Romita Jr. and John Byrne doing Fantastic Four, and it was just so cool. I was like,
I'm a comic book geek. I'm a comic book geek. I want to live in a world of adventure. I want to have the seas of immortality. I want to move across the limits of imagined past the limits. Believe that we can be beyond the limits of human. That's why they call me a geek. Well, a comic book geek. I love a comic book geek. Well, I'm a comic book geek. Well, I'm a comic book geek, 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 geek. Well, I'm a comic book geek.
Okay.
Are we back?
Yeah, you're back.
Make sure you
We're
say-
back!
We're back. Welcome
back.
back.
Hey, we are back in
what?
your face, up in your grill, with none other than the wild and woolly David Wohl.
hey,
Quite possibly the greatest guest we've ever had on the show. Let's see if we can keep him.
really?
Maybe, I think so, yeah. I mean, when it comes to you've created some masterpieces. Witchblade?
Witchblade, Darkness, Aphrodite 9.
Ooh, she had the nicest ass in comics. You remember that cover,
Yeah,
David?
Dave Finch did a really good
that
job
was
with her.
that ass was juicy.
How long have you been in comics? This is what I was going to start out with.
Almost 25 years. It's because I started as a high school intern when I was like 17 years old. I was a senior in high school.
So
I'm not drunk. It could be why, but no, it's because I'm crazy. I got the love. You
And I
see,
want the same thing I love.
we are crazy about comics.
I always dreamed of saving the day, but they call me a comic book geek. I never set limits on what man can achieve, so they call me a comic book geek. I love and beauty and what philosophers say, but I'm a comic book geek. Don't call me a loser, 'cause I'm a comic book geek. I'm a comic